My name is Chavez.
My name is Marcus Walker, and today we are here to present our game World War II.5. As many of you know, most of you have played this game before. You know what our idea was, which was a kind of little combination of Risk. But what we thought we originally made was a great game that everyone would enjoy. But when we got our reactions back, it wasn't the greatest thing in the world. It was mostly 4s and 5s, not really the best overall. But what we wanted to do is describe to you what our game is now and what changes happened after the fact. Now first, here's the overview. The setting of the game comes in 1945, which is the end of the World War II. Basically, it is a game where the Axis powers versus the Allied powers, just like in World War II, where the Axis powers comes up with a plague that can destroy Europe through creating zombies, as that is our main premise of the game. And the Allied powers are looking to stop the Axis powers. And right here, it's a 2 to 4 player game. It's preferably 2 or 4 players, as 3 is an odd number, and it's mainly teams, or it's one-on-one. It's either 2v2 or 1v1. But of course, 3 players is easily acceptable in our game. And some of the components that we have are infantry, cannons, cavalry, and obviously zombies, which we will get into a little bit more later on in our slideshow.
So there are a lot of components that make up our game. For instance, like Mark said, world domination. So our storyline takes place in World War II. So obviously there's a war for owning Europe, and so obviously world domination comes into play. So conquering of Europe, and like Marcus said as well, plague spreading. So the plague being the zombies. So if you're the Axis powers, you have the zombies on your side, and your goal is to conquer Europe by plaguing Europe and therefore owning it. It's a team versus team, so like Mark said, it's a 1v1 or 2v2, but we found out that it's better if you play 2v2 because it makes it a bit more complicated to win. It makes the game more strategical. It makes the game more interactive. And obviously the zombies, which you don't really see in many board games, so that obviously is something that stands out.
All right, setting up. A lot of people struggled with the board game setup when we first found out. Of course, for our game, it's only based in Europe and Asia, so it's 19 countries. So to decide who gets what country, or the individual countries inside Europe and Asia, you roll off. So whoever gets the highest roll decides what army or what country they want first, and then they alternate clockwise to gain whatever army they want to control for the game. So unfortunately, there's only 19 countries out of the 2 continents. So it's a bit unfair. That's the only unfair part, where one person will be stuck with 4, while the other 3 are stuck with 5 countries. So I guess it's better to roll higher in this case. But yeah, that's a huge part of it. Rolling off to seeing who gets what countries, and obviously it is important to conquer certain countries, so then you don't face a 2-front war, or you're completely surrounded by the enemy. It's good to divvy up your pieces in that way, in alternating fashion, so then it's a bit more equal for everyone to get a certain country of their choosing.
So for our game, you have a choice of being 4 different countries, and for instance, Japan is the yellow pieces, Germany is the black, USA is blue, Russia is green. And all 4 countries have a different variety of armies and units of army. So depending on which country you have, determines how many units of army you have. And for instance, in our game, if you're Japan or choose to be Japan, you have 25 units of army with a maximum of 10 zombie units of army. So 10 units of zombie army. If you're Germany, you have 30 units of army with a max of 10 of zombies as well. But if you're the Allied powers, US. For instance, you have 25 armies with a minimum of 10 infantry, and Russia has a total of 30 armies with a minimum of 10 infantry.
All right, so as you can see here, the Axis powers, obviously, they get the zombies. They are the team that, or a group that get the zombies. They are the people who infect, or made the infection, made the plague. So they get zombies, cannons, and cavalry. They don't get infantry because zombies and infantry are both worth 1 unit. So we thought it would be unfair to also give them infantry while the Allied powers don't get zombies, so that'd be a bit unfair to the Allied powers. So in the Allied powers case, obviously they get the infantry, cavalry, and cannons in this case. So then we thought that would make it a little bit fair in that case as well. Now the zombies do get a little special attribute. If you have 3 zombies in a certain country, you get, instead of getting 2 dice, you get 3 dice when the roll off, so then it's a bit equal. That's the little advantage with the zombies. That's one of the pros, and we'll get into the cons a little bit later of the zombies.
So the way you attack in this game or conquer countries is, so turn by turn, when it's your turn, you can either declare war, choose to declare war, or choose to skip your turn. But if you choose to declare war on another country or another territory, you must have a roll-off. And 3 dice goes to the larger army, and 2 die goes to the small army. And if you have the same amount of army, you get the same amount of die, which is 2. And to show you an example what I mean, so let's say I am the USA in this case, and I have Russia, as you can see here, and let's say I want to take over Afghanistan. Since I have the larger amount of army, I would get the 3 die. But let's say this is Germany. I want to attack Afghanistan, who is ruled over by Germany. I would get 3 die, as I said, and Germany would get 2 die. And the highest combined score wins out of the rolled die. And if the attacking player wins, if you declare war and you are the attacking player and you win, 4 units are taken away from your enemy. But if the defending player wins to roll off, or somehow wins to roll off, 3 units are taken away from the attacker.
Now, before we move on to the next slide, I want to say, with the disadvantages with zombies, going back to it, if you have 3 in a country, the disadvantage to it is if you win the roll-off, you have the same amount of dice, but if you win it, the attacking player, so if the allied powers were the attacking player, they would only lose, instead of losing 3, if the defending, like they were defending, instead of losing 3, only 1 would be taken away. So that's the little disadvantage of having zombies, is that you get the same amount of dice, but if you win, the other player only loses, a third of what they were originally going to lose. Now winning, obviously it is war domination. The goal is to destroy all the other armies, control the world by battling off until one team loses. It's either stop the plague or infect all in this case.
So the mechanisms used in our game are area control and dice rolling. So area control, how it's used in our game. So obviously we're trying to conquer Europe. So if you're the Allied, it's the Allied power versus the Axis power, so you're trying to conquer each other and try to, if you're the Axis power, infect Europe. If you're the Allied powers, is to save Europe. So obviously you try to take control of Europe and protect what territory you own and try to conquer territory that you don't own to essentially win the game. And dice rolling, so you roll the dice, to figure out who goes first during the game, and you also use dice rolling to figure out if you win the attack or lose the attack.
All right, and these are some of the opinions that we've gotten from you guys and people that we individually look to play our game. We found that zombies utterly dominated the game beforehand. We would just have if they had 3 zombies in an area, they would typically win because they get the same amount of dice, and the attacking player would lose 3 pieces, and that would not be good. So because it would just end the game, it would end their turn pretty quick because they wouldn't be able to, to attack again. We found that the armies were a bit unbalanced on both sides. We tried to even it up as much as we could, giving advantages to certain countries and disadvantage to different countries. We also found that it was a bit too long. Some games took 45 minutes. We tried to cut it down a little bit more, to more like a 25 to 35 minute range. And in our rule set, a lot of people were confused because we didn't have as much pictures or examples. So we thought when you do see our rule set, there are definitely more pictures or examples in that rule set. And another thing which isn't on here is that a lot of people found it that basically both teams would just get wiped out because there was no way to gain armies. So one way we thought of gaining armies is if you roll over a 12, if either side rolls over a 12, or if you get 2 dice, if you roll a 12, you would get 2 extra armies of your choice wherever you want to place it. So we thought that would be a nice, unique way to gain armies in this game, since beforehand we didn't really have a way to gain armies.
So how the game has changed, so obviously like Marcus said, the zombies were a bit overpowered, so we decided to lower the amount of zombies, units of army of zombies that the Axis players can have. We also figured out that the armies were a bit uneven or unbalanced, so we decided to balance them out more. And like Marcus said, we thought the game was a bit too simple, was a bit too easy just by taking over countries and just losing your army, so we found that it's a more unique and more a fun thing to just have a way to gain armies, so prolong the game even longer and make it even more exciting and fun to play.
Finally, the final bits of the game. Basically, we did enjoy Risk. We both enjoyed playing Risk, so we thought we would try to innovate a game that a lot of people already love playing. So we thought incorporating zombies and the World War II aspect of the game, we thought it would make the game better, a more innovative game, and we thought that a lot of people would enjoy it. And hopefully, if you do decide to play it again, hopefully you guys do enjoy it. Thank you so much for paying attention. Yeah, this is it. World War II.5.